You hear that, I mean, the high revving, just deafening scream echoing off the harbor walls.
It's unmistakable.
Yeah, that is the sound of the 2026 Monaco Grand Prix. And let me tell you, this is not just another weekend on the calendar.
No, absolutely not.
This is the jewel of the crown. It's the most unforgiving, claustrophobic 3.3 kilometers in all of motorsport. And right now, the paddock is a powder keg, just waiting for a spark.
It is incredibly volatile. I mean, we're looking at a grid that is physically, mechanically, and frankly, politically pushed to the absolute breaking point.
Exactly. And you listening right now, you are about to step right over the velvet ropes. You're coming into the most intense, high-stakes garage environment of the entire year.
We are completely bypassing the PR spec.
Oh, tearing up the press releases. We're giving you the raw, unfiltered telemetry of what is actually going down in the Principality.
Because, the polished television interviews, they don't tell you the real story. The real story is hidden in the data traces. It's in the hushed conversations behind the motorhomes. And it's the genuine panic happening right now in the engineering briefings.
Spot on. So on this deep dive into our paddock notes, we are aggressively tearing through the shocking new 2026 FIA regulations that are, let's be real, completely neutering these cars.
It's a massive shift.
It is. Plus, we're getting into the bitter internal war brewing at Mercedes, the technical masterstroke that might just hand Ferrari the win on a silver platter, and an explosive off-track political battlefield.
Oh, the politics this weekend are insane.
Blocked buyouts, chronic back pain, and like $150 million high-fashion invasion. It's wild.
It's the massive weekend. Let's just get right into the hardware, though. Because to understand who is actually going to survive Sunday, you have to look at how the FIA has completely altered the DNA of these 2026 machines specifically for these streets.
Okay, let's unpack this, because what the FIA has done here is just mind-blowing to me. First off, the physical footprint of the cars.
Right, they're smaller.
Yeah, they are 10 centimeters shorter, they're narrower, and crucially, they've shed like 30 kilograms of weight compared to last year.
Which is huge.
They are finally agile again. I mean, we are genuinely going to see cars launching with 3 wheels in the air through the swimming pool chicane, just like the golden eras.
Yeah, and that weight reduction changes the entire moment of inertia. The cars can, they can rotate much faster into a tight apex.
Right.
It is a massive improvement for a street circuit.
Yeah.
But, and this is a big but, it's what the governing body has done to the aerodynamics and the power units that has the garages totally up in arms.
Oh, it's a total muzzle. It's the bombshell of the weekend. Active aerodynamics are completely banned for this race, period.
Completely locked down. Well, they aren't wrong on the track geometry. You only have a few fleeting moments. Maybe exiting the port chicane into Tabac, where the steering wheel is actually dead straight.
Sure, but still.
Banning active aero here is a pure safety play, so a driver doesn't suddenly lose downforce mid-corner. But the real controversy, the one that has the engine mapping technicians practically pulling their hair out working overnight, is what they've done to the electric deployment.
Furious doesn't begin to cover the mood in the pit lane. So we have these incredible 50-50 electric combustion power units for 2026.
Right, huge electric power.
Normally, the electric motor drops 350 kilowatts of pure instant power right up until you hit 290 kilometers per hour.
But here
it's entirely different.
The FIA is forcing that electric deployment to aggressively cut out at just 200 kilometers per hour.
It's a massive throttle.
I mean, overtake mode buys you a little more,
Yeah.
dragging it out to 310 kilometers per hour, but it is a massive cap on the car's true potential. It's like building a 1,000 horsepower hypercar and then slapping a grocery cart speed limiter on it. Yeah, I hear you.
I have to ask you, are we sacrificing the ultimate spectacle of speed out of pure, unadulterated fear?
I mean, I share the frustration. I really do. You want to see these machines at the absolute limit.
Okay.
But we have to look at the physics of instant electric torque on a street circuit.
Okay, lay it out.
You have 350 kilowatts of instantaneous delivery. If that hits the rear wheels unpredictably coming out of Saint-Devote, or worse, bouncing over those unpredictable bumps at Massenet, you aren't just losing a tenth of a second in lap time.
No.
You are launching a chassis into the metal barriers at lethal speeds.
But wait, wasn't that the whole point of the 2026 regulations? To remove the driver aids, make the cars harder to drive, and, put the danger and the skill back in the driver's hands?
It was. But the drivers themselves pushed the panic button here.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Carlos Sainz and the Grand Prix Drivers Association actively lobbied for this specific limitation. They looked at the telemetry from the winter simulators and realized the cars would arrive at the braking zones entirely too fast for the physical safety grading of the barriers. The instant torque is just too violent for a track built on public roads.
Wow. Okay, fine. The GPDA gets their way on safety. But at least we can celebrate the death of last year's strategic disaster.
Oh, thank goodness.
The 2025 rule mandating 2 pit stops, which, let's remember, had drivers crawling around the track at a painfully slow pace just to bunch up the field and create strategic gaps, is dead and buried.
Thankfully, that artificial rule totally ruined the racing flow. We are back to a classic one-stop race.
Yes.
Pirelli has brought the softest rubber in their arsenal, the C3, C4, and C5 compounds.
Well, lots of degradation.
Exactly. For those tracking the data, those are the tires that degrade the fastest but offer the highest mechanical grip. And because track evolution here is extreme, going from a filthy public road on Friday to a rubbered-in high-grip groove by Sunday tire strategy is literally everything.
Right. And we need to clarify something for the listeners, because the strategy here is the exact opposite of almost every other track on the calendar.
It really is backwards.
At a normal circuit, you pull an undercut. You pit early, bolt on fresh tires, and use that massive grip advantage to leapfrog the guy ahead of you. But here, the overcut is king. Why does pitting early punish you so heavily in Monaco?
It comes down to tire temperatures. An undercut relies on your fresh tires being instantly faster the second you leave the pit lane.
Right.
But bringing a C4 or C5 tire up to its operating temperature window on an outlap in Monaco is an absolute nightmare.
He says you can't weave.
Exactly. You can't weave to generate heat, and the corners are too slow to put energy into the rubber.
So leaving the pits on cold tires is basically like driving on black ice.
It's a death sentence for your lap time. The driver who stays out on the track with hot, scrubbed rubber will consistently lap faster than the guy wrestling a cold set of new tires out of the pit lane. You stay out as long as humanly possible.
Which brings us to the bigger picture. If the FIA has capped the outright straight-line steed and the aero is locked into a high downforce configuration, this entire race is going to be decided by low-speed agility and mechanical grip. And that completely flips the championship hierarchy on its head.
It rewrites the script entirely. I mean, let's look at the front of the pack.
Let's do it.
Mercedes arrives with Kimi Antonelli holding a massive 43-point lead over George Russell. That is a cavernous gap this early in the season.
And the tension in that garage is just palpable. I mean, did you hear the radio friction in Canada?
Oh, I see.
Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff was visibly agitated on the pit wall. You put 2 highly competitive, highly stressed teammates into the tightest street circuit in the world. It's the perfect recipe for carbon fiber shrapnel.
They are on a knife edge. But internally, Mercedes knows they aren't the favorites this weekend. That title belongs to Ferrari.
Charles Leclerc is a monster at his home race, and Lewis Hamilton is looking completely dialed in. But it's not just the drivers. Our internal paddock notes highlight that Ferrari pulled a technical masterstroke with their 2026 engine design.
They really did.
They opted for a small turbo architecture. Now wait, I'm stuck on something here. Formula One engineers spend hundreds of millions of dollars chasing top speed.
Right.
Why on earth would Ferrari purposely design a power unit with a smaller turbocharger? That feels like giving up horsepower on day one.
Because peak horsepower is a vanity metric if you can't actually deploy it.
Okay, fair.
Think about how a turbocharger works. Exhaust gases spin a turbine to force more air into the engine. A large turbine takes significantly more exhaust gas to spool up and reach maximum rotation.
Okay.
That delay is what we call turbo lag.
Right. So when you stomp on the throttle at 60 kilometers per hour coming out of the Lowe's hairpin, a large turbo takes a fraction of a second longer to deliver the boost.
Precisely. And in Monaco, that fraction of a second is an eternity. A small turbo spools up almost instantly. It gives Ferrari explosive low-end torque right out of the slowest corners, out of the hairpin at a Rascasse. Mercedes, Red Bull, Audi. They all went with a large turbo philosophy to dominate the high-speed tracks like Monza and Spa.
So they're going to be heavily penalized here. You need instantaneous punch, and Ferrari has the hardware advantage.
100%.
And frankly, this hardware mismatch brings us to Red Bull's worst nightmare.
Boy.
Max Verstappen is openly complaining about the RB's entire design philosophy. I mean, he's joking about needing to order a new spine because the car runs so violently stiff.
It's brutal to watch.
It's heavy, and it aggressively rejects bumps and curbs.
They might genuinely be the 4th fastest team this weekend, and it is entirely self-inflicted by their aerodynamic concept.
I'm struggling to understand Red Bull here. They have the best aerodynamicists in the world. How did they build a car that practically falls apart the second it hits a bump? I mean, is their era of dominance officially bleeding out?
Well, it's the brutal trade-off of modern ground effect cars. Red Bull built a chassis designed to maximize underfloor downforce. To keep that floor perfectly sealed to the track surface, the suspension has to be incredibly stiff. If the car rolls or
The
bounces,
seal breaks.
exactly, that seal breaks, you lose downforce instantly, and the car snaps into a spin.
So if you've ever driven a stiffly sprung track car over a pothole, your teeth rattle. Now imagine doing that at 250 kilometers per hour.
Exactly. You need mechanical compliance and Monaco softness, the ability for the suspension to absorb the road without unsettling the chassis. Red Bull simply doesn't have it.
Right.
Their car is an absolute weapon on a smooth, custom-built racetrack, but on the bumpy streets of Monte Carlo, it's a massive liability.
Speaking of teams struggling to find their footing, let's look at McLaren, because they are rolling out a gorgeous special livery this weekend to celebrate their 1,000th race.
Except it's actually their 999th race.
You literally cannot write this stuff, because both cars suffered catastrophic mechanical failures and failed to even start on the grid in China earlier this year. The official math is off.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing.
They are throwing a massive 1,000th race party at race 999. But the real story at McLaren isn't the paint job. Behind the scenes, the rumor mill is spinning out of control that Oscar Piastri is looking to jump ship to Red Bull.
Yeah, Piastri claims he's perfectly happy at McLaren, calling the rumors flattering but baseless. But in this paddock,
Oh.
where there is smoke, there is usually a multi-million-dollar contract being drafted by a team of lawyers.
And Piastri looking at the exit door is just one example of the massive off-track power struggles right now. Because while the heavyweights are battling for the podium, the midfield is a literal war zone of blocked buyouts, physical pain, and high-fashion cash injections.
Yeah, it's chaotic.
Let's pivot to Alpine. They just inked a massive $150 million sponsorship deal with Gucci that kicks off in 2027. Flavio Briatore and Renault CEO Luca De Meo are in the garage. They're bringing back the iconic black and gold liveries.
Which look amazing, by the way.
Oh, incredible. And the pit mechanics, the guys physically changing the boiling hot tires, are literally going to be wearing Gucci pit suits.
It is deeply cinematic. It feels like a high society soap opera. But the implications of what's actually happening in their boardroom are massive.
Tell me about it.
A 24% stake in Alpine, held by the investment group Otro Capital, was up for grabs. Mercedes took a look, put in a bid, but walked away when the asking price got too steep. Then Christian Horner, heavily backed by external capital, stepped in to buy it.
And Renault executives flat out barricaded the door and blocked him.
They did, and to understand why, you have to look at the history between these two factions.
Right, the engine drama.
Yeah. During the Sebastian Vettel championship era, Red Bull won 4 consecutive titles using Renault engines. But the moment the V6 hybrid era started, and the Renault engine struggled with reliability and power.
Horner was ruthless.
Brutal. He publicly trashed Renault at every opportunity, blaming them for every single failure.
Right, so the relationship ended in total toxicity. So this blocked buyout is pure, bitter revenge. I mean, Formula One is a multi-billion-dollar global sport driven by cutting-edge data, and yet personal vendettas from a decade ago are still dictating massive boardroom decisions.
It's wild.
Horner's is locked out because Renault simply hasn't forgiven him.
It shows you that underneath the telemetry and the wind tunnel engineering, this is still a sport run by human ego.
Absolutely. And it's not just the hardware or the boardroom relationships snapping under pressure, it's the drivers themselves. Look at Fernando Alonso over at Aston Martin. He is in actual physical agony inside that cockpit.
Yeah, the team completely redesigned the seat position this year. They heavily reclined the driver's seating angle to lower the car's center of gravity.
Right.
And to improve the aerodynamic flow over the driver's shoulders to feed the rear wing.
But the side effect is brutal. It's exposing Alonso's helmet to intense aerodynamic turbulence, and the reclined angle means every single bump on this street circuit is shooting straight up his spine.
Yeah, he's taking a beating.
The car is literally beating up a 2-time world champion. And to make matters worse, their technical genius, Adrian Newey, is missing from the paddock.
Yeah, former AlphaTauri boss Franz Tost made some very cryptic comments about this recently.
What did he say?
He implied that if Newey's health permits, he'll deliver a decent car for 2027.
Wow.
Yeah, it strongly hints that Newey is dealing with undisclosed health issues, which explains his absence since Austria. Without his immediate feedback on the pit wall, Aston Martin is just flying blind on how to fix this suspension nightmare for Alonso.
Man, that's rough. Then you look down the pit lane at Williams. I'm looking at the timesheets and seeing the Williams FW48 just lumbering around. It looks visibly heavy on track. Why is a modern F1 car so overweight in an era where teams literally weigh the paint to save grams?
Well, it's the manufacturing lead times and the brutal reality of the cost cap.
Okay.
When you design a car, the first iteration of parts is usually slightly heavier to ensure structural reliability. As the season progresses, you manufacture lighter, more refined carbon fiber components.
But Williams didn't get to do that.
Exactly. Because after Alex Albon completely destroyed his chassis in Canada, Williams had to make a brutal call.
Right.
They paused all future lightweight development. They literally had to stop upgrading the car just so the factory could manufacture enough spare, heavy parts to survive the Monaco walls this weekend.
So one heavy crash in practice, and they might not even have a car for Sunday.
It's that tight.
Which makes it even more incredible that Carlos Sainz is out there performing absolute miracles, scoring 6 of the team's 7 points this season in a sluggish machine.
Sainz is driving out of his skin right now to compensate for the car's limitations.
And finally, we need to talk about what's happening at Haas, because Oliver Bierman is crushing Esteban Ocon.
Oh, it's not even close.
The points tally is 18-1. Bierman is leading 4-1 in qualifying and 4-1 in races. It is a bloodbath. Why the massive gap between a rookie and a proven race winner?
It really comes down to driving style and how these new 2026 cars behave on corner entry. The lighter chassis rewards a driver who can throw the car aggressively into the apex. Bierman came straight out of Formula 2, where the cars are incredibly lively and lack power steering. He is thriving in this agile environment.
While Ocon is struggling.
Yeah, Ocon spent years mastering the heavier, sluggish previous generation cars. He is struggling to adapt his braking points to the aggressive electric deployment of the 2026 engines.
Right.
He is bleeding lap time on corner exit because he just can't trust the rear grip.
And the pressure is mounting so fast that Haas team boss Ayao Komatsu actually had to step in front of the microphones to publicly deny rumors that they were going to fire Ocon mid-season.
That's never a good sign.
No. When a team principal has to look at a camera and state, "We are not firing our driver," things have reached a critical level of instability. Ocon is fighting for his career this weekend.
Every single session is a job interview for him right now.
So let's step back and look at the board. We have engines choking at 200 kilometers per hour, teammates on the verge of collision, a championship leader with a target on his back, a boardroom grudge match locking out billionaires, and drivers fighting through literal physical pain.
It's a lot to take in.
And all of this technical theory, all of this internal warfare, and all of this political maneuvering is going to be settled between the metal barriers of Monte Carlo this Sunday. Oh, and by the way, there is a 10% chance of rain looming over Friday and Saturday, just to keep the panic levels elevated.
A wet Monaco with these new, lighter but electronically restricted cars. The grip levels would be non-existent. It would transition from a motor race to an exercise in pure survival.
Which leaves us with a chilling question to ponder before the lights go out. We look at the FIA, openly terrified of the raw acceleration these 2026 electric power units can unleash. They are physically cutting the power because the track can't handle it. The drivers themselves are begging for limiters. Are we finally approaching the physical limit of the sport? Have we built racing machines so violently fast, so incredibly torquey, that human beings simply can no longer be trusted to pilot them around a city originally built for horse-drawn carriages?
It's the ultimate tension of motorsport. We spend billions of dollars building rockets, and then we are forced to lock them in a cage.
Sunday is going to be unhinged. Keep your eyes on the telemetry, ignore the PR spins, and we'll see you on the other side of the checkered flag.